All right, everybody, this is the Baseball Night, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and of course, this is another visit to the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny part.
Yes, so welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2, and hopefully you like this video. I'm all jacked up for this video, because I haven't read this article, but I can just imagine where this is going to go. Because you're going to talk about somebody who's certifiably nuts. And in this video, not to bother people that are like, insanely challenged, but we're talking about somebody that's pretty obvious. This is a admitted guy that likes to, eat gummies, marijuana gummies, and this is a guy that his insanity has made him a lot of money. And he got himself in trouble internationally. I don't know what happened. We're going to get into this video, and we're talking about in this video Christopher Mad Dog Russo, a former patient at WFAN, and of course he helped build that station to where now you get all these backbenchers running the place. There are no Mike and the Mad Dogs there. There's no Imus in the morning there. They're not generating the kind of money they used to. But this is an amusing story. I hope. I'm going to read you this, and this is something I guess he said on, on First Take, which is just, well, let's get into it. Off announcing. Chris Russo had police called on him at Heathrow Airport. They called the police on me. I'm an American. Okay, all right. They don't call him Mad Dog for nothing. And during a recent trip abroad, Christopher Mad Dog Russo got mad enough to have the police called on him. Again, it's a guy that should be getting the white coats. We talk about the nervous hospital here, but this is a guy that certainly need the white coats. Let's be honest. Russo was back on First Take Wednesday morning after a couple of weeks off for a 17-day vacation to Europe that included an 8-day father-son golf trip to Dornoch, Scotland. The trip, however, was not without its share of travel issues, which Russo passionately recapped the detail in his "What Are You Mad About" segment of First Take. And there's the thing about Russo, he goes crazy and detail the travel arrangements of any trip he goes on. This is also the same guy that said he wasn't going to root for the Mets because he wanted some nepotism thrown his kids' way when his kids showed up at the end of Mets spring training. And I'm not going to root for the Mets anymore. You never rooted for them to begin with. And I did a video on that, by the way. For more than 10 minutes Wednesday, 10 minutes. 10 minutes of this monkey crap. More like dog crap. For more than 10 minutes Wednesday morning, Russo ranted about the trials and tribulations of getting himself, his travel companions, and the golf clubs to Dornoch. It began with the fact that their 9:15 p.m. JetBlue plane from JFK to Edinburgh boarded, but was delayed to wait for a connecting flight from Syracuse before ultimately getting canceled altogether because the pilot timed out. Rough. Now we don't need to. I don't need to see this. I'll just read you what they had to say. Quote: "You want to fly to Scranton, PA? JetBlue is for you," Russo yelled. "You want to fly to something a little more elaborate, like to freaking Edinburgh? What a disgrace! They kept people on that plane till 1:44 in the morning, and threw them the hell out of it." I would mention I've met Russo many years ago when I was a kid. First time I ever saw him anywhere. Before he was on TV. And when I saw him, this was like, I haven't seen this movie in years. The movie American Graffiti, where they show Wolfman Jack. You don't know what Wolfman looks like most of the movie. And they show him, and you're like shocked at how he looks and how he acts. I was shocked by how Russo looked. You never know how people look like when you first see them. Russo then went into the struggle of getting everyone rebooked on future flights in the coming days before turning his attention to British Airways. Dog's son Tim Russo, an assistant coach with Northern Arizona University's men's basketball team, was flying from Phoenix to Dallas to London to Inverness before driving to Dornoch. His clothes made it to Inverness, but his golf clubs did not. This sent Mad Dog into a scavenger hunt in London looking for his son's golf clubs. It took me 2.5 hours to locate the clubs at Heathrow. They didn't know where they were, Russo ranted. My son needs the golf clubs, for crying out loud. Couldn't find them. Well, we finally found the clubs. I had the ticket stub. I put Timmy on FaceTime. He's like in his 20s. Timmy, will you tell the people here? And the son talks just like him. He says it's just like him. Timmy, will you tell the people here that the golf clubs are yours and your father, who paid for them, wants to take them out of the airport so I can get your clubs the next day. They wouldn't let me take the clubs out of Heathrow. They probably thought they were dealing with a dangerous lunatic. Well, so Timmy's clubs had to stay at Heathrow overnight, and he didn't have his golf clubs on Saturday because British Airways wouldn't give it to his father. Here's their answer. It's protocol, sir. I'm not interested in protocol. I'm interested in the 5-iron. I'm not interested in that. And they called the police on me. They called the police on me. I'm a loud American. We're going to get the authorities. I don't give a crap about authorities. Get the golf clubs where they're supposed to be. Oh my God. Thankfully, Russo says he was able to avoid getting arrested by settling down once the police arrived at the scene. I mean, what are they going to do? They don't have any guns on them. They don't do nothing. That's not something to be afraid of. Surprised they didn't revoke his citizenship. I just told them they put him in their own version of ICE. For everyone who complains First Take has too many forced and recycled segments about LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Dallas Cowboys, this was for you, because after he was finished ripping the 2025 MLB All-Star Game, Russo was handed the keys to First Take and ESPN, where he was able to rant and rave about airline travel nightmares as only he could. Like I said, this is a guy that that's his shtick. His shtick is telling you the itinerary, and this is something that he's talked about for 35 years. I mean, this is a guy that, what time are we going to get there, dog? What time are we going to get there, Mikey? I mean, it's just insane. But what do you expect from a former patient? And maybe someday, I don't think he's ever going to go back. But this is another episode and another insane visit. Another insane visit. Another insane visit, doggy. To the place known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. To the funny fun.